It's a cool Wednesday morning here in southern Nigeria. Thank you once again for joining us on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television. Like I said, it's quite cool here. For those in Europe, the heat wave, has been sweeping through Europe. We understand that 2 people have died in Italy. In Portugal, temperatures have risen above 40 degrees Celsius. And of course, France, we have red alert zone in France. The Eiffel Tower, top of the Eiffel Tower is closed already. And London, the UK, for instance, the UK has seen the hottest day of the year. London recorded 34.7 degrees Celsius, and for them, that's the hottest day. But I tell you, trust me, 34.7 in Nigeria, in a place like Abuja, for instance, would be a cool day. So for my friends in Europe, this might just be the time for you to visit Nigeria. It's quite cool here, especially in southern Nigeria. Emeka Daniel is my name. Thank you once again for joining us on Morning Spring. This is Western Spring Television, where we say it as it is. And of course, I have Femi with me. Good morning, Femi.
Good morning. Morning.
Yeah, trust you had a great night.
Very well. Thank God for life. We are here. And good morning as well. And of course, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. World, you are welcome. And this is where we talk about everything important. We look through the headlines of the papers, and then we get talking about various issues. And we are back here today to do just that. The midweek installment of Morning Spring, your award-winning Western Spring Television, streaming live, sitting pretty on channel 190 on StarTimes DTT, and also on our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. There we are, and there you are, there we are right now. Femi Ojo is my name, and you are welcome. You were talking about the heat waves in Europe. When I saw some of these concerns yesterday, for a few days now, and people, staying. In fact, some in France, schools only operated partially. The Eiffel Tower, a part of it was short to visitors yesterday. I saw pictures, images of people going there, brooks and springs and water pipes and putting water on their heads, and these are some of the things. Quite odd. The thing is, they are not too used to that. Actually. So when you talk about 32, 33, that should be like an average temperature somewhere in Maiduguri, actually, in Sokoto, in Kebbi. Because sometimes you wake up in the morning around 7:30, and the rays of light are into your room, and then it can blind you, in a kind of way. But, it is their reality. And it's been said that Europe is the, fastest, the temperature with the hottest Celsius right now, in a manner of change, but because when you talk about heat and temperate weather, you talk about Africa, that's a regular. There is a continent of sunshine. Actually, absolutely. These are some of the things we are seeing at this time. So
climate change we're talking about.
There are things that you are not used to. And so when it comes, and then you are getting towards 20, 27, 30, 32, and people are dying, then it calls for concern.
In a place like Turkey, we understand we have wildfires in Turkey. So it's not really good.
Wildfire happens even in the US.
Portugal.
Earlier this year, there was wildfires. There were wildfires.
And for the UK, the highest temperature, when I saw it 34.7, I just smiled. We are used to that.
Is what?
When I saw 34.7 as the highest temperature of the year, I just smiled because, but
then 34.7 is not like it's our usual.
Not usual, but in a place like Abuja.
But on the day that you say, oh, the heat is much, then that's what you're talking
sincerely, about. In Abuja, 34.7 is like normal for me. I lived in Abuja. It can get really hot. One of the things I do not like about Abuja is the heat. Sometimes it gets so hot. You see, in the middle of the day, you can almost visibly see the heat waves as the sun is hitting the road. You can visibly see smoke.
That blurry nature of what you see.
So it gets really hot.
But I'm sure when you're complaining, not really complaining, saying the reality about Abuja, the people in
Maiduguri is even hotter.
In Sokoto will be saying
Sokoto, Maiduguri, really hot. Really
in the core north, And somewhere in Damaturu, they'll just be looking at you and say, "Are you joking?" Here,
absolutely.
But then,
but I understand places like Kaduna is quite cool. I mean,
it depends. North is north. Cool. Every part of the north. In fact, if you are moving from here, the moment you get to Ilorin, Ilorin, not central, to say, Yoruba-speaking people, but you know there is a change. It's just the way it is.
Don't you think this is a time for those in Europe to now visit Nigeria?
Yes, please visit. And
Nigeria is cool.
And also, well, at this time.
Nigeria is cool, yeah.
At this time. Okay.
So you can just come to my friends in Turkey. I know a couple of guys in Turkey. You can come to Nigeria now, just stay away from the heat over there. I mean, come on, cool off.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time.
Don't worry, I'll share my apartment with you. I mean, just
all right.
Enjoy yourself.
There is a lot to really talk about today. Yesterday on the program, we looked at the opposition politics, what some of the stakeholders are saying, especially people with ambition, P2B, saying it doesn't mind having one term. And, some have seen it as a strategic move. The presidency is in the South right now. By convention, is a North versus South thing. So 8 years here, 8 years there. Possibly just wants to say, give me the other 4 years of the South.
Absolutely.
And so if that will work, and there is a Yoruba man there from the South as well, who most likely, officially, is yet to declare, but then the imprints are there that might be seeking re-election. And the North are waiting to say, you guys should be done with your 4 years. We don't know if actually, now the coalition, they are hotting up. We understand they had a closed door session yesterday. And some of these arrowheads were there, whatever they are cooking, we are waiting. And you said something yesterday that if ADA will not work, maybe that's why the ADC, and ADA is not far from ADC.
Absolutely.
In alphabetical order.
Yeah.
So again, we wait.
Yeah, talking about the coalition, what Peter Obi is doing now, it might just be a genius move. Like you said, we have a Southerner there already. Yeah. We'll be spending 4 years already. And of course, due to rotational presidency, 8 years for the Southern, 8 years then for the North.
Yeah.
So the only way, the best strategy is from someone from the South to say, okay, I'll only run for a term. That's the only thing the Northerners want to hear. Because their agitation, their fear is that if a Southerner should come in now, then he'll be spending 8 years.
Another
short-changing them, another Southerner, short-changing them by making the Southerner spend 12 years in a row. But now Peter will be saying, you know what? I'm willing to spend only 4 years. I'm a man of integrity. According to him, he said 4 years is enough to transform. He said it's enough to transform Nigeria.
No,
he's the first. No. Peter Obi is the first person to come out to say, you know what, 4 years is enough to do my job.
You don't understand what I'm saying? That's talking about the presidency. Some will say Peter Obi is a Nigerian politician, right? So this is not about somebody having an edge over others. I don't speak for him. He's antecedent to do that. Now, the thing is, Nigerian politicians, when you want to take them because of what we know, power corrupts, power intoxicates. Now, Yaba Gisani is the IPAC chairman, national chairman, and he has said that's what everybody will say. Actually, have you not seen people who will come out and say, I'm made, I don't want this, it's my people that said, oh, come and run. I know a lot of them.
For him, we understand he's not just saying it. He has submitted a proposal, officially to the coalition. And the coalition, we understand, are reviewing the proposal right now. So he's not just saying it.
Would that be legally backed?
That's what we're saying here.
Can it be legally backed?
He wants to make it official.
It can be legally backed.
He said even though it's unconstitutional, he wants to make it official.
Exactly my point.
This is what
I don't have issues. The vote belongs to Nigerians, right? Absolutely. Almost 93 million registered voters at the last count, and 397. Now, that is the choice of Nigerians to make. But the thing is that some people who feel either it's P2B, either is Obi Peters, either is Adolfo Wabara, either is Bola Tinubu, either is Femi Ojo or yourself, the moment you're a Nigerian politician, you can only do like this and observe.
Whatever you say should be taken with a pinch of salt.
He's a Nigerian politician just like others. Now, his antecedent is what is remaining. If there are people still think, when you gather all the evils in a room, okay, maybe this one is not that evil as others because I'm not sure Nigerians are looking for saints. No. If you are looking for saints, then you go to Vatican City and you're going to be doing that there. But you're just looking at somebody who they can trust in all of this. Now, the calculation is another thing. Okay, give it to the South, 8 years. So the calculation that some persons who will say, we'd rather stay with the ones that we know. How about your 4 years? There is a certain Doyediri who is saying 8 years is not enough for him. That is just the thing. This is Nigeria. And there is somebody who is well into his second term who is now proposing a single term for others. Is he not a Nigerian politician? That's just it. How can you be in your second term of office, almost 6 years, and you are proposing single term?
You just realize that 6 years is enough.
All of a sudden, you say all of the rest of you, 6 years is okay. And somebody is in his second term and he's saying, guys, there's
actually a way to do that, to convince people by just resigning after spending 6 years and say, see,
that is
even though I have 2 years left,
by example,
6 years is enough. So I'm leaving. Let's start it.
Exactly.
That's the best way. You lead by example.
The Nigerian politician would rather die. Even the ones that is dying, he will say nothing is doing me. It's opposition that is saying it's their father that will die. But we know last he will die, in which anybody can die. These are the issues. Anybody can be sick. Sir, are you sick? Because in as much you're a public official, nothing is private about you again.
Absolutely.
Nothing except your bedroom. The moment you are being catered for by the people's fund, then you can't tell us, no, I reserve the right to say I'm not sick. It's not your problem. I can choose to go to India and stay there forever, and Nigerians will be paying. These are some of the issues. So I don't have issues with that. That's even on one side. The coalition that have been in bedroom since yesterday, talking now, Nigerians are waiting.
Yeah.
To say, they will most likely release. The thing is, and you can't take it away from them, Bola Tinubu and his people, or let me say the Bola Tinubu's people are cooking and they are not hiding. Even if the man is not saying, I'm going to run for office, categorically, all his people, their hands are on the deck.
Now talking about President Bola Tinubu.
So you can't blame your coalition for cooking.
Yeah.
Everybody is a chef right now.
Yeah.
And they are cooking.
Politically, he is in Saint Lucia right now, and he's been conferred with the highest honor.
Don't just say Tinubu. Sir.
Yeah, as a knight, right?
Tinubu.
Highest honor of the land. But let's be sincere. Let's look at it. Let's.
When you say let's be sincere, you made it look like there are times we are not sincere. Let's just talk.
On this point, is in St. Lucia. What's the economic importance of St. Lucia? St. Lucia, as of June 2025, as of June 11, 2025, they have a population of 180,130 people. That's 180,000 people. That's an extremely small country compared to Nigeria.
I'm not sure the visit, according to them, right away, it's about visiting St. Lucia, but a meeting of the Caribbeans and whatever brothers is
the visit, according to what Bayo Onanuga said, is to improve bilateral ties with St. Lucia. That's what they say.
And there is a Caribbean, whatever.
And the president repeated it. So what's the economic importance of it? 180,000 people. That should be like the size of not even local governments, a ward. Council level in Nigeria.
Well, let's say Oshobo. Not even up to Oshobo, because Oshobo has 2 local governments. Now these are the issues. But then the president said he arrived as a Jagaban and he's living as a Sir. That's just to say, Sir Bola Tinubu. So when you see Baba, he has been knighted already now of the, given the highest order. The highest honor
of the land.
In the land. And that's just possibly something equivalent to the GCFR here in Nigeria. That's the highest honor. So whatever, and there are postulations, there are conspiracies, there are stories about the need for the president to mobilize his team and, head them to head over to St. Lucia. These are some of the things. But then until we have the fact, we'll talk about it, whatever that means. On social media, people will say, when you see people's comments, and then possibly something controversial is the story, and then you go through the comments, you will see 1 or 2 persons telling you that comment that you are looking for in that place, be the one to put it there. So whatever you think the St. Lucia visit is about, is the people, is you that will tell us. Now, the president has said what he's doing. I hope he's back.
I've included my own comments anyways. I'm talking about St. Lucia. I've just made mine here.
These are some of the issues, especially at this time. And I think that was what P2B talked about, to say, you are just holiday. Whatever you said you are doing there, just holiday in St. Lucia at this time, with due respect to them, what can they offer us? What are we doing, especially with the myriads of challenges here you mobilize our, the Air Force One to go to Lucia.
No, we can actually acquire.
Did you even see that room that was knighted?
You know what?
It looks like any other local government.
We can actually acquire St. Lucia. I mean, just acquire them, just,
and just buy it.
Exactly.
And add it to Osun State.
A single Nigeria can do that, actually.
Yeah, if it's about money. If it's all for sale.
Now, for anyone in St. Lucia listening to me, I mean, with all due respect, I'm not trying to make fun of you guys, but we love you. I love you. One of these days, perhaps I might just visit your island as well. So I have nothing against St.
All right, we'll go on this quick break. When we return, I'm sure Daniel will be ready with his fund to make a proposal to St. Lucia if actually the place is all for sale. But you can say, St. Lucia people, I'm not part of that proposal. For now, stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The headlines, let's see what the front pages of newspapers look like for today. All right, let's kickstart it from the Daily Trust newspaper. Ahead, ADC's meeting today. Atiku woos PDP leaders to coalition. Ahead, ADC's meeting today. Atiku woos PDP leaders to coalition. All right, wait to see what will happen. And below that, you have the remains of late Alhaji Aminu Dantata being taken to the cemetery for burial after Janazah prayers at the Prophet Mosque in Medina, Saudi Arabia yesterday. You can see the crowd, the people that were there. We understand Aliko Dangote, I think he's a grand cousin to the man, accompanied the body there, and his entourage, Asofemi Otedola, many of his friends following him there to pay respect to a very illustrious Nigerian.
Dangote has to be there because Dangote's success story is not complete without mentioning the Dantata family. We understand
there is still a family.
Yeah, we understand. When he started his business, he got actually, was it a loan or a grant of 500,000 naira? And that was it. Grew from there to become Africa's wealthiest.
Right, you can see the remains as well being carried, and everybody is struggling to touch the remains, or the carrier have the remain rather, and he speaks to the legacy of the man. Actually, now away from that, INEC proposes fresh guidelines for review of election results. INEC proposes fresh guidelines for review of election results. And I'm sure Nigerians are waiting. What will these look like? And Nigerians are waiting if, whatever INEC does right now, 2027, conversation is on. There are many persons that will read every kinds of meaning to it. Whatever they are doing right now. And they are, just like Fayoshe said in one of those conversations, and he said, I'm looking at them like a bat. Nigerians will be looking at INEC for a bat to say, roll it out. We want to see what will happen. Whatever these guidelines will look like.
Absolutely.
Election result, because this team from 2023 election and the distrust, I'm not sure it has gone away.
Because they made a lot of INEC made a lot of promises going into 2023 elections, but unfortunately they couldn't deliver on those promises. Talking about the IREV, talking about the BVAS, so they couldn't deliver really due to the glitches, like you said. Let's just hope 2027 it's far better than what we had in 2023.
And then, whatever happens there, we hope it will endear the people more and give the people a reason to believe in public institutions more. All right, away from that, Dantata buried in Saudi Arabia. And Dambokolo, the rise and fall of bandit warlord. We understand yesterday, the Defense Headquarters said he has been neutralized as one of those kingpins of Bilu Toji, who is on hiding right now. And one of them is worse, Dambokolo, the rise and fall of bandit warlord. Let's take them one after the other like that. The onslaught should be total against these people, not just to neutralize one and go to rest, and others will group and start wreaking havoc.
I think our leader should be fished out. The Bello Turji himself.
Yeah, all of them. All of them. And whatever they are using, and then there is another aspect of the economy and poverty, things should get better so that, idle hands will not be easily accessed by these bandits.
Yeah, but some of them are just being recruited.
Some of these so-called, you know, I don't want to use the name so that I don't sound insensitive, but some of those children that carry, you know, plates begging and all of those, there's a name they are called, but I don't want to sound funny this morning.
It's not funny. They are marginaries. It's not funny. They are marginaries.
Because they are just all over the place and they are hungry, they are not fed, and somebody can just pack 100 and tell them, I will feed you.
Yeah.
And, you know, initially they won't tell them what they'll be used for. It might be under the guise of education, might be the guise under, the guise of, you know, religion and knowledge. And before you know what's happening, after 1 year or two,
they are brainwashed.
Then they find out what they are doing. At that point, they are well deep into it and they can't come out. And they are easily accessible. They are all over the place. These are some of the issues. Now, Lagos traditional ruler dethrones 6 chiefs for impersonating him at LP campaign. When I saw the news yesterday, you know, and the different narratives, you know, I saw a narrative, a particular caption that said Lagos monarch dethrones 6 chiefs for attending LP campaign. Now, most of other headlines have been saying for impersonating him. You know, when you read the story, it might give you a sense of those persons attending that particular campaign meeting, and they say they were sent by the Kabiyesi, or they represent the Kabiyesi, while actually,
but apparently
they didn't have the go ahead.
They went there without his approval. Yeah, that's what happened.
And they came in the name of Kabiyesi to that campaign. So impersonation. To say Kabiyesi said, "Who among you went there? He's a lawyer to a lawyer. Who sent you people?" And you know. It's LP campaign, LP Lagos.
And they've lost their thrones, their seats because of that.
Because of impersonation.
And they might not have gotten anything from attending the campaign.
Whatever it is.
Is it not, you call it LP campaign, right?
Yeah.
Those guys don't share money.
They don't have shishi. They don't share shishi.
They don't share money.
So said no shishi. Yeah,
their leader is stingy. No
chieftaincy title.
No game saying that fact.
Double jeopardy.
They don't share.
Possibly you only take away.
Oh, boy.
And you are all right. The thing is, does the traditional ruler have the right to do that? That's what the traditional council will look into, actually. You know, for Kabiyesi to be so infuriated and say, you can't go and represent me when I didn't send you there, and you make it known. All right. Now, how we can transform livestock sector into modern business? Minister, all right, he was on a platform yesterday and he spoke, and you know, people really came for him. That's one of those sectors that have been, albeit very quiet. Agri. What have they been doing in agri? Yeah. Apart from the prayer and fasting issue that we had recently.
Or perhaps they're still praying. Perhaps.
How we can transform livestock sector? How we can transform livestock sector into modern business? That's coming from the minister. You might want to pick up a copy of this paper to get how we can do that. I mean it by saying we, who was it referring to? And military kills 10 terrorists at Nigeria-Cameroon border. Let's go, guys. Let's rule them off. All right, that'll be all from the Daily Trust front page for today.
And from the Daily Trust, we move to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune this morning, as the case might be. From the Nigerian Tribune, we have Atiku, David Mark, Tambuwal, Lamido, others want PDP collapsed into coalition. Atiku, David Mark, Tambuwal, Lamido, others want PDP collapsed into coalition. You'll find a story on page 2 with the writer says party now a shadow of itself. It's talking about PDP, the People's Democratic Party, being a shadow of itself. Now they're talking about, having it collapse into the coalition. Let's see if the leaders of the PDP will actually agree to that proposal. And right there at the top of the paper, we have controversy trails Ondo government's planned inquest into Akeredolu's death. Controversy trails Ondo government's planned inquest into Akeredolu's death. I don't think there should be any controversy. It should be the proper thing to do. There should be an inquest. Yeah. If there are, accusations and counter-accusations, the best thing is to have at least a forensic inquest so that to lay all the matters to rest. So why is it causing controversy?
Well, in as much as about, you can't take away politics in all of this. And the dust is here to settle. And, the family of Akeredolu, especially the widow, he definitely, Miss Betty is not a fan of the husband's former deputy is not the governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa. Many, if anything happens right now, meanings will always be ready to it as well. And then the question is, legally speaking, does the government have a right to do that? Shouldn't that be the prerogative of the family?
No, the government can, because he was a public office holder. So the government can actually do that. Okay, well, this was our person.
Can they unilaterally do that?
The government can.
Without informing
the family. If anything happens to a public office holder, they can do it. I mean,
I understand, but I'm just saying,
angle, look at it from that angle.
Yeah, legally speaking. But wouldn't they need the support of the family to do that?
Absolutely.
Because the man in question that died has a family, has grown-up children that are married. He was a grandfather. He has a wife. So unilaterally, if the state government will say we want to inquire, and the family don't see a reason to, that's why we will always be here.
Absolutely. Anyway, there are different forms of inquest. We have the scientific inquest, the forensic inquest, and we also have the African forensic inquest. You know what I mean? So
no, I don't. I don't.
The African way?
No, I don't.
Oh, the Ifa way?
I don't.
Oh, you're a Nigerian, you should.
No, I'm a Nigerian, but I don't.
You should know.
You're a Nigerian
and you are from the southwest, so you know whether you like it.
Yes, I'm a proud Yoruba, but I don't know. That inquest that you are talking about. Yeah.
So
but the scientific and the coroner's inquest and the scientific DNA, whatever cause of death, what's it called now? There's a name they call it now. So, whatever it is, I'm sure
pathologists will have to look at it.
Autopsy,
autopsy,
to see the cause of death, and if it's more than that. But then what we learned was he was sick, and very sick. It affected the will of government in Ondo State, will of governance in Ondo State for a long time. The man has died. But in this part of the world, people will say, let the dead remain dead. Don't raise rabbles. Don't bring back bad memory to people. But if actually the Ondo State government have a reason to,
if they're suspecting foul play, then the best
but I think they should. Well, what do I know?
Yeah, if they're suspecting foul play, the best thing is to go ahead with the inquest.
Right.
So just to lay the matter to rest, once and for all. And that'll be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right. Away from the Nigerian Tribune, we have quite a few ones from the Punch. Punch newspaper. Marketers snub Dangote's price cut, retain high fuel cost. That's one thing about Nigeria. We learned, from Dangote's refinery, it has been reduced from 880 to 840 now. And people, seems like 2 days now, and people are expecting that it should reflect at the pump. But the way businesses are run around here.
Marketers want to make the money.
When it increases, everything shoots up. When it reduces, then there are stories. All right, marketers snub Dangote's price cut, retain high fuel cost. And the 2027 crossfire, APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu government. APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu government. I remember what Lamido said. Former Jigawa State Governor, one of the founding members of the PDP and fathers rather. And he's saying, if there's anything that can remove Tinubu, he's all for it. So, for many of these guys, it's personal. It will look like it's personal, by the way, because that's what Lamido said. If there's any organization, gathering, party, group,
so for him, it's clearly personal.
Tinubu must go. That's just his own.
For him.
And so you have people like David Mark, former Senate president, for that matter, a former military administrator. That's who he was. These have been people that have been living on the country, for quite a while. These are some of the things we are seeing, and then the El-Rufais who have said, he's gone. He's gone. I saw him on the program, and the way El-Rufai was talking was more like Tinubu. Oh, just wait for 2027. He's gone.
It seems,
and I'm sure the man, the Sir Tinubu, somewhere
grand scheme.
He's looking at him. There is the Aregbesola part in which Itato has been a bit quiet, not really talking, but he has been having meetings. They have been having the Omoluabi Progressives meeting. And then Amechi, all of a sudden found his voice, and he's all over the place making recommendations, heading committees, and he's still anti-Tinubu. Yes, anti-Tinubu campaign. and Tinubu must go. And all of them that are just there, former SGF, Babachiola, wow, many persons.
They say the voice of the people is the voice of God. If
Voice
everyone
populi,
is saying you have
voice
to go,
Dei.
you have to be careful.
Well, the thing is, which people are you talking about?
Nigerian people, of course.
Well,
you just mentioned some of them.
That's what I'm saying. Do they really represent the Nigerians? That's just the thing. That's another conversation.
Yes, they speak for themselves.
Nigeria.
They speak for themselves, but again, if you take the poll, I mean, if you take a poll right now, Nigerians are not happy with what's going on in the country.
But if actually
the hardship is real.
If actually they have a message, are they sending these ones, these particular ones? These ones that they were part of the Tinubu campaign. You know, El-Rufai was at Chatham House with some of those guys, and when Sir Tinubu was being questioned at the Chatham House, El-Rufai, he threw one of the questions to El-Rufai to answer. And many of the guys that followed him to Chatham House, he was nominated to be a minister. He was at the house.
That's what I was about to say.
And then it wasn't confirmed.
If El-Rufai were a minister right now, of course, he wouldn't be talking about coalition.
The issues. And he said, it's not about anybody denying him or not confirming him at the National Assembly. It was the president who changed his mind. And you know, you might want to agree with him to say 14, I'm not being, verbose with words here, 14 petitions, security petitions, couldn't have stopped El-Rufai or anybody that the president wants. That's the reality in Nigeria.
If the president really wanted them, yes.
Any petition, security situation or security petition wouldn't have stopped anything. We live in this country. And so that's why the man said it was the president who changed his mind. Let nobody talk about the National Assembly. If he wants him, definitely he will have a match. And then for like a year, it was quiet. After a year, the man came up and started granting interviews. And he's been all over the place, having meetings and all of those things. These are the issues. So that's why one will say, is it Nigerians that are sending these ones? Even if they are not happy, if Nigerians are not happy.
Are they truly representing?
Are they representing the people? Where have they spoken to Nigerians? That's the thing. Has there been town hall meetings? Have you seen any in Kaduna, in Abuja, in Oshogbo, in Potiskum, in Lagos, that people are saying, oh, we are sending you. You people just called yourself and you have been having meetings. So, of course, they are Nigerians. So, now, the rider to that says opposition alliance against steam as Atiku coalition, ex-PDP governors, veterans join Mark bloc. Atiku coalition, ex-PDP governors, Mark bloc. And in the PDP, you have the Wike bloc, you have the Makinde bloc. And the only people that doesn't have any bloc, they are the average Nigerian. Whatever block they tell them to go, possibly that's where they will go. All right, that will be all from the Punch for today. A lot to really look into the proposal of the coalition. But the thing is now, it looks like the coalition everybody is just permutating and reading the lines. I mean, President Tinubu said something, at a forum last week where he said that those who have triggered early politics, and then he spoke about other things. So meaning the president knows that politicking have started. And that's why he used that word. Those who have triggered early
Those
politics.
who have triggered, but he's also guilty of it. Because if his campaign posters, flooded Abuja as far back as 6 months ago, you are Mr. President. You should know these things.
But you didn't see Koti Tinubu.
It doesn't matter. If people are campaigning for you, Femi, you can't claim you're not aware.
Well, I may not be.
When you are seeing posters,
all right, I say, who are you people? Me? No, please. These are some of the things we are saying at this time. So the coalition, I said it. The coalition, they are cooking. The president's camp, they are cooking as well. In fact, the biggest challenge for that camp right now are some of those blocks, because we have many blocks now. Blocks is who will Shatima retain his position as the VP?
Most likely it's leaving. Most likely. From the calculations and permutations you're saying. Most likely.
We have to be careful.
For strategic reasons. Leaving as
will he leave or you will be removed?
Okay.
Does anybody live in Nigeria?
We understand Ganduje left now, but he was removed. So it's still, whatever words we choose to use.
Now, will he be retained as, but then nothing is cast in stones, especially in politics. Anything might just change. Dynamics something might just spring up and somebody might think, whoa, please, as they say it around there, that's why I say, whoa. somebody might just say, please leave it as it is. There is something cooking there. Let's use this to block it. Now, there are calculations of maybe the president is looking towards Kano for a block vote, and not just about Kano. He needs somebody that has the clout.
That's why he's weighing Kwankwaso, who has a very strong followership.
And he has them in many states. He has them almost everywhere.
Really strong.
When you see them in the white attire with the red cap, that's the Kwakwanseya people, and they are like a cult.
Absolutely.
Actually, not a secret cult.
Cult-like followership, yeah.
Yeah, they are so loyal. Wherever the Oga goes, they go. So, will that really work? Now, if Shetima doesn't retain his position, do you think there will not be backlash? He too, no matter how little, he has his own people.
Absolutely.
Borno usually vote in block as well. Borno State, actually, although the differences are beginning to get leaner, by the way, because it's just what it is. Politicians are doing what they have to do. What concerns me, you, Nigerians watching, is having dividends of democracy.
Absolutely.
Do your politicking.
Absolutely.
But let's have a good life. Let the environment be conducive for business, for learning, for everything good.
Yeah, economic growth.
Then when you are ready and it's our turn to vote, we know what to do. That's just the thing. Go on with your meetings, actually. Because if anybody wants to be president of Nigeria, you just don't start two years to. That's just the thing. I'm not talking about people that are in power. If anybody have if anybody has an ambition to be president in 2031,
that's what I'm saying.
They should start the move
they
now.
Started making
Nigeria is a big place.
Yeah.
You can't just stay in your region. And that's the thing, especially for most young persons. It's not the election year that you start putting up posters.
Absolutely.
No, it doesn't work that way. There is a reason why it's called politics. It's politics for a reason.
Some people are on the queue. The queue is long, Femi. The queue is very long.
And the juice.
And once you come, they'll tell you join the queue.
And the juice is juicy.
They'll tell you join the queue.
Join the queue. In Jennifer's voice. We take a good break right now. When we return, we speak on these issues, especially as this nation is concerned. We are live right now on our YouTube channel, Western Spring TV. Stay with us.